Hi, everybody. This is Deception in Healthcare in America with Kathy, Ann, and Jennifer. And today we're going to talk about something you may not have heard of or even thought of. It's about all the plastic in your coffee pot and the mold that breeds there. So I kind of knew about the plastic, which is why I'm not using mine, but I had never heard of the mold. So you can get mold from the piping inside of your brewer because there's warm water that goes through the plastic piping and then it just sits there while your machine's not being used, and it just breeds and grows mold and algae. It could also be from your reservoir where you fill your water and you wait until you brew your coffee and it goes through the reservoir. So if you leave your water in the reservoir for multiple days, the water gets stale, it starts to get scale, it can grow mold and mildew. So you're supposed to be cleaning out your reservoir, and that's something I'm guilty of not doing. And I'll just leave my water in there for days, but that's pretty bad. But it is estimated that 48% of people who brew their coffee at home use those home brewers like Mr. Coffee and stuff like that, the drip machines. And all those have plastic piping and the reservoir, and so 48% of y'all could be, ingesting mold from your coffee pot.
It's more than that. It definitely is. They're being modest on the statistics on that one. I mean, that's an opinion, but it's a pretty strong one. The mechanics of the coffee pots, what people don't think about, like you were talking about, even if you so in a perfect world, you would take the water reservoir and you'd clean it every time. You'd get hot soapy water, you'd get one of those little brushes like they sell these little different type of little brushes that fit in any kind of groove or space that you could imagine of any size, right? Like almost like a miniature bottle cleaner, right? Or a
Like a
straw
straw.
cleaner,
Yeah.
right? And you'd have to go down in there a ways because it even collects under and in places you can't reach. But in a perfect world, you would take the entire thing apart once a week and you would go clean the inner mechanics of the tubing. There's just gunk for days. Like, so our bodies are designed to, withstand there. Everybody has mold in the air, some type of, there's allergens and molds and all kinds of ragweeds and different things in the air. If you had someone come in and test your levels, you're going to have them in your house. There's just safe levels, there's unsafe levels. So it'd be the same with your machines, right? Or your water bottles, your whatever it is you're using. But plastic is going to pick that up and hang on to it pretty quickly. So you would go in the places you can. You're supposed to clean your water reservoir like every day, but you're supposed to like open this thing up and go inside and clean out all the gunk. Now, depending on whether you live in a drier climate like you, where you live, you're in a much drier climate than me. I'm down on the coast. It's very humid here. Like, so you can start seeing the pink mold in 2 days, just around the bottom of where the reservoir goes and clicks into the actual unit at the bottom. It will start turning pink, and that's a pink mold. That's like every 2 or 3 days. When I started seeing that, that's when I told my husband. I said, and we're both dealing with a lot of allergies. He's had to go to the ENT recently. I had to start Flonase about 5 months ago. Taylor recently got on Flonase probably a year ago. Just we're all just having these really horrible allergies. And yes, we have a cat, we have a dog, and I vacuum twice a day, but it's like we've had them for almost 13 years. So it's like what I just stopped and took a look and said, what are we doing every single day that we can change? What would be practical? Something you're doing every day. I know we're cleaning our water cups and we're using stainless steel. I got rid of all the plastic. I cook in, cast iron. I grill. So it's like, where are the contaminants coming from? And for me and my husband, I knew it was the coffee pot. I knew it. Like that's one of them anyway. And then the smell. Have you guys ever noticed? I wanted to ask you when you make brew coffee. So like I have a percolator now. The coffee smells good. So when my husband gets up in the early wee hours of the morning before all the roosters in town, I would get this just really horrific, like burned coffee smell come through the bedroom. And now when he does the percolator, because we switched to a stainless steel percolator, it smells really good. It smells like a coffee house. And Taylor switched from an espresso machine, which was horrific. Oh, those are horrific as far as mold and stuff. They're really bad. She switched to a Breville. It was a Christmas present, but anyway, she switched to that, and she had the same type of smell when she would brew her espressos. And I was like, I don't know, it's a double edged sword, but I was gifted with this like horrendous sense of smell. Like I can smell everything. But her coffee machine, I noticed when she makes espresso shots, it smells like you're walking in a coffee house. So I don't know. I was gonna ask you, is that something that you notice with the coffee makers?
You know, I really haven't noticed. I know it smells like coffee, but I never noticed a foul smell or a weird smell in
It's
mine.
almost like a burn. It's like a I don't know, but it's completely gone. And I'm very sensitive to smell. I
Doesn't
don't
the
notice
burn
it.
tell you it's working?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I know they sit on the burners for too long, and also that messes with the quality, and it brings down the quality of your coffee the longer you're supposed to, like, brew your coffee and turn off the machine, by the way,
I
to
never
keep
do
your
that.
I
I
have
always
who
leave it
does that?
warm. Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody does
nobody
that.
does that.
They keep it warm.
But the whole thing is we're also not supposed to be drinking 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee, whatever most people do. I know I drink like 4 in the morning, but, you're supposed to brew the coffee, shut it off. You're supposed to everybody pour their coffee and you're done, almost like a French press or something, you know? Or like you make an espresso drink, you brew up that shot or whatever and you're done. You know what I mean? So, so they had to come up with these coffee makers with like 12 cups of coffee, I guess for Americans, I don't know, 'cause 'cause we overdo everything. But anyways, that was just a funny question I was throwing in there. I wondered if anybody noticed. It's just a strange smell. I would have never known. I just thought it was me. They're like, "Well, you're just weird." My husband told me, "What are you talking about? I don't smell anything." I'm like, "You can't smell anyway."
Well, I was gonna say, how do you even get in your machine to look at the piping? Because I knew we were gonna do this podcast,
Mhm.
so I tried to open my coffee pot, and you cannot without, I guess, breaking it apart. So, because I was gonna
Yeah,
go in there, and I was curious to see if mine had mold in it, and it probably does, but there is no way to open it without
I think they
breaking it.
suggest that you, something that you go to your user manual or whatever, which most of us have what? They've thrown it away. Well, I guess you
It's
can look it up
gone.
on the internet, but who's gonna do that? I mean, come on.
Nobody does that.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that does it, and hey, y'all are awesome. Y'all are but I don't know. I don't have time. I'm not gonna make time for it, and I just got rid of mine. I'll be honest, we got rid of ours. I've loved it. I thought it was the best thing since Wonder Bread. We got a nice fancy, Ninja. Loved it. I mean, it was great, but mm-mm.
We have the Keurig one, so it's a coffee pot and a Keurig in one, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I cannot use the K-cups because they're made out
Mhm.
of plastic, and I know
Right,
the whole coffee pot's plastic, but
right.
just the thought of running your hot water through that
Do
cheap
that.
piece of
Yeah,
plastic,
ours has the same
ugh,
thing. I was gonna say ours has the same thing because I have boxes even left over, and I hate waste, but I have boxes left over because in the evening sometimes, especially in the winter or the cold months, I want more coffee. So I do decaffeinated. So I have all these decaffeinated coffee pods from when I would just sporadically want like another cup of coffee in the evening without getting more caffeine. And so we had the Keurig attachment to that as well. So I do miss that, but I don't. I do notice that coffee even tastes better. I will say it really does taste better coming out of the percolator. When I go visit my grandma, she has a percolator. So when I get there, I'll go buy me some coffee like some fresh ground coffee or whatever, and I make coffee in her percolator there, and, it always tastes amazing, and I always thought it was like this nostalgia or something. I thought it was some, grandma experience, being at grandma's, but, like comforting and just loving being there, but now that we have one, I bought the same one. Hers, of course, is much older. It was from when my mom and them were kids. It's really old, but I bought the same brand and everything other than it's just electrical, but yeah, your coffee, I promise you, it tastes really good. I mean, but I drink black coffee, so I do taste everything, but it is an amazing difference and it is much cleaner. Everything's stainless steel. You clean it out and you get 12 cups too. Love it. I still get my whatever. Larry gets his 3 or 4 cups and then I get mine. He leaves it plugged in and I get up and it doesn't burn your coffee, but it's really hot. Like it's hot, hot. So,
you're gonna have to do a video on how you make your coffee in the morning because people probably wanna know what kind of percolator you're using. Because if you go online and
yes.
you say yeah, so, I actually I use 2 different things. I stopped using my coffee pot because I couldn't deal with the plastic. Never thought of the mold, but couldn't deal with the plastic. I bought a what's called a mocha pot. It's MOKA, mocha pot,
Mhm.
and
Those are popular.
it's metal, and they're way cheaper than a coffee pot, and it's kind of it makes like an espresso almost, and you put it on the stove, and the steam goes through the mechanism,
That's
through the
basically a
grounds. So it's an espresso machine without electricity
Yeah, like
that
a
you
that's
espresso
basically
machine.
you're basically getting
Yeah,
a French it's like a French press. I think that's very similar, yeah.
yeah. So
And you
I
put it, like,
use
halfway on
that.
the burner, right, to keep the handle from getting too hot or burning, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I keep mine in the center, the handle's wood,
Mhm.
and, but yeah, I use that, and then I use the dehydrated coffee that you just pour water over,
Right,
so I'll
right.
use that, and that's super easy.
And it
So those
tastes
are
good,
the
doesn't it? Tastes
actually, it
really
does
good.
taste good.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we were in Poland, at the hotel we stayed at, they didn't serve fresh coffee, they gave you the grounds, the
Mm.
dehydrated grounds, and the hot water, so
And
they
let
never
you do
brewed
it
the
yourself.
coffee. Yeah, you just did it
Mhm.
yourself, and I
I was gonna
thought to
say that's how
myself,
they do it in other countries, like, they even do stuff like that in, I think it's, like, Cuba and places, you've heard of Cuban coffees. They're made very similar, like, I think you use a French press to do it. Once again, they use cleaner stuff in other countries, even in poorer countries. I don't know. Plastic is not it may be convenient, but I promise it's not convenient for your health. Like, you have no idea how many like, we get enough microplastics, I guess, so that's why we were really harping on the coffee machine because this is just something we've come into realization ourselves because we both love coffee.
so much.
Yeah, and my daughter loves it. Everybody in my family drinks it. Even my son learned to drink black coffee being an officer. Like, he just yeah, I don't know. We all love coffee, but the plastic is insane. It's just not
Yeah, when
if it's
you
something you're doing every day, you just need to take a look at what something if it's a habit, like it's something you're doing a lot of, you might, really consider changing it.
yeah, it's like the hot water, it goes through the plastic piping, and then the basket that holds your grounds is plastic,
Mhm.
and it's just pouring through that
The tubing.
into the the carafe or whatever ever you wanna call it that holds your coffee, and the lid is plastic, and it's going
Yep.
through the lid,
And then it sits in there and steams.
and then so you're getting not only your daily dose of coffee, but your daily dose of microplastics.
And the tubing is like a rubber, which is like rubber, plastic, whatever. It's rubber. It's these little rubber, they pop off and on, and you pull those off and they're just lined with gunk.
So
So your
bad.
water runs through there to the next place and gets heated and then comes through plastic. Sometimes some people think that if they replace the filter, the basket, like the steel or whatever those are, I think that helps, but you still have the plastic. It's lined in plastic, so it's getting heated and it's coming through. I don't know why it's so hard to come up with something that's all stainless steel until it gets to either the glass or stainless steel, whatever your cafe preference is. It's like it's not that hard
Yeah, I don't think it's hard, I think it's cheaper just to use plastic,
for
is what I
sure.
think.
Yeah, and then you'll come and keep replacing it too, because a lot of people I know people that say they just throw their coffee machine away once a year and they go buy a new one.
Wasteful, but I think there's a lot of things that you can do to avoid the plastic coffee maker. I know it's just so easy, and, like, if you work somewhere, it's just easy, but there's those ones and you can get 'em I have one from IKEA, it's glass, and then you put warm water in there, and then you push the grounds with, like, a push thing, and
Looks
you
like a
keep pushing and
plunger.
pushing. A
Yeah, it looks like a
plunger!
plunger. That's what it looks
Yes.
like.
So,
Yeah, and
I
it's
have
almost
one of
like a
those.
coffee screen in there,
Yeah, a
and you just
coffee
push it
screen.
through and you wait, what, 5 or 10 minutes, and then you come and pour your coffee, and it keeps the granules from coming back through. It filters out
Yeah,
the coffee granules.
I've tried that.
It's really not that hard, though, it's really not. It's so
Yeah,
different than all this you have to do, like, I grind my beans, that hasn't changed, and then I gotta then you have to put it in the basket, then you have to close the lid, I mean, it's no different, and then some people use these filters that are bleached and full of all kinds of crap.
yeah,
Some people use coffee filters no matter what, like, I've heard people use those even if they don't have to, they're just used to using them. They
yeah.
still sell tons of those.
Yes. I have 'em both. I have the coffee filters, plus that I have that basket that's kinda like with the metal screening. So
Mhm,
and then it has the plastic on the side to hold the metal screening
right.
in. You just can't get away from it. But yeah,
I did order some of the on Amazon, I found unbleached for the percolator, they even have the little hole where you just drop it right in there and it's unbleached, and we've been using that because it's easier cleanup, and it is, that's for the convenience part of it, and it also keeps some of the granules from floating back up.
well, I mean, if you're not gonna throw away your coffee maker, I mean, how would you clean it? How would you clean the mold out it? And I'm actually done this before. You run, like, it through a cycle of vinegar.
Mhm.
And I have done this, and I guess I didn't run enough cycles because then when I ran my coffee through it, it tasted like
No.
vinegar.
No.
But they say
Goodness.
make sure that you run some regular cycles before you make your
Yeah.
coffee if you use the vinegar. But
Yes.
vinegar is supposed to sanitize all the piping and stuff and, like, descale the
I was gonna say they
mineral
have a
buildup.
descaling tablet that they sell that you can put that in if you don't but what is that? What is that?
I don't know what
What's in
chemicals
it?
are in there.
Yeah, well, those are pretty popular. I think more people do that, but the vinegar, that's just at least it won't even kill you even if you taste it. I mean, I guess you don't get it all
That's
it
true.
won't kill you. Like, it's a natural,
Yeah, you could
antioxidant, so
yeah,
little
um,
boost a little immune booster.
but what you said earlier about you're supposed to clean the water reservoir every day,
Right.
who seriously does that? I can honestly say I probably clean mine, and I don't use my coffee maker anymore, but I can looking back, I could go a month and not clean mine, at
See, we
least.
don't put enough water just to hold that amount, and I would take it off and let it dry out because I saw where it connected to the actual machine, that's where it would mold so fast, so after we would do coffee in the morning, like, my poor husband, I'd be like, "You forgot to," it's the one thing I could find in the whole day, "You forgot to take the water reservoir off," and I had to clean it and dry it and all this stuff, but we never left water in the reservoir because it would only hold, like, 12 or 13 cups, that's all it would hold, and it just sits in the side, you can take it off and it's real easy, but that's probably the only reason. Now my daughter now I see what you're saying with her. Breville, she'll put 3 or 4 bottles of water in the back because, you'll when you're making espresso shot once a day, you're not thinking, "Oh, does it have water?" That's nothing they're thinking about. She's already thinking about, you know, um, putting her beans on the scale because you have to measure, you have to get the right amount or it doesn't taste right and all that stuff. And so she's not thinking about water. So anybody with one of those machines as well, like, I mean, we can go ahead and throw those in there. Your Nespresso machines are plastic too. So if you have like and you don't have to buy like these espresso machines that go up to like, oh god, we've seen them up to $20,000. But you can like get on Amazon and they may last you a couple years. They may not last as long, but they run anywhere from 99 to up. And they're stainless steel, so you can switch that too. And just you just have to go the extra step and learn how to measure your beans. But I mean, once again, they taste better and it's healthier for you. But yeah, there's plastic all around us. Yeah, she leaves water in there probably for it probably does last her several weeks. That's 2 shots in a puck, so anyway. Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah,
water that sits in that reservoir, so and that's only
yeah, and
plastic on her entire machine,
but, we just wanted to
plastic.
make you guys aware just in case you didn't realize that, first of all, you're brewing your coffee through plastic, and second of all, the mold, like, who even would think about that? So, we just wanted to bring it to your attention that, hey, your coffee pot may be harboring mold and yeast and mildew and scale. So, once you
And
know, you
so
know.
and so many people right now are dealing with like, you notice a lot of people are just developing more and more allergies, and it's because we're exposing ourselves to more toxins, and that is a toxin, that is I mean, that like we were just saying when I was growing up, I mean, my grandparents' house, you went to their house, they had a Bunn coffee maker and it was all basically stainless steel, almost all of it. I know it had the tubing was probably plastic, and I don't even know, I'm guessing, but everything else was stainless steel. The reservoir, the and my grandpa liked that because he loved it piping hot. He would say he didn't want to put his lips on the cup unless it was jumping out of the cup into his lips. In other words, he wanted it really hot. Even back then, or people had percolators. Like I said, my grandma even had a percolator, and she would take that with her or pull it out when she had guests that wanted coffee because she had gotten to where she had quit drinking coffee. It was giving her palpitations. But this is the stuff people used back then, and it's like I don't know. We've just like our minds have gotten so far away from I mean, some stuff everything's advanced and we live in a new era, but everything's not a good change. Every advancement is not a good advancement. Some stuff I think we should have left alone or try to get back to. Microplastics is a really big deal right now, and they have a lot of research and they're able to go in cadavers and look at the amount of plastic just in a person who you would consider a significantly healthy person in today's time has the amount of plastic that would equal or look like a plastic spoon that you would eat out and use is that amount is in their brain. And this is supposed to be just a typical average healthy person just consuming a limited amount of, microplastics. This is just someone that's more mindful of not consuming plastics. So that's alarming for sure.
It is alarming, and not only, is that accumulating in your tissues, but, they're endocrine disruptors, we have, thyroid problems and stuff like that, and, this just adds to it. So, we challenge you to try to eliminate the plastics in your life where you can.
And I'll give you guys a little fun fact on microplastics. They're forever plastics. You cannot detox them, you cannot minimize them. You can minimize your usage and exposure to them, and just try not to ingest them. But I'm telling you right now, that is a forever chemical. Plastics, once they're in there, they're in there. So
They'll say it's like BPA free. I mean, who cares? It's still plastic. That they just replaced that BPA with something else and it's still plastic.
making it palatable to pick up and buy because you say, "Oh, look, the plastic is BPA free."
Well, anyways, that was our podcast on coffee makers. You know, there are just so many out there. Go take a look. We'll each do a video on our social media showing how we make our coffee. Again, we're not perfect. We both have come to the realization that we're drinking plastic, so we've both made changes, but we'll show you
Mhm.
how we make our coffee in the morning and you guys can see where you can make changes in your life. And we wanted to announce our very first giveaway on Instagram for our 1 year anniversary of our podcast. Follow us on Instagram for a chance to win and view our content. Thank you all for listening and supporting us. And we will be back next time with another topic.